Are you struggling to regain sustainability in your life and create a positive life stance? If so, listen in as courageous women share their empowering struggle of how they came through the trenches to restart and recreate a victorious life worth living. They took their power back. Learn the secrets of how they did it, and you can too. Welcome to the Real Heart Talk podcast and 360 Network for Women. And here's your host, Pamela Duran.
Welcome, Real Heart Talk. You are enough listeners, and we have a guest here all the way from Pennsylvania, Ellisburg. I'm so excited. It is Jennifer. Is it Jen or Jennifer?
Jen is good.
Okay, Jen. Love to have you on the show. Glad you're here. And we are going to talk about a powerful subject tonight. And so many of our listeners may be in this type of situation that you are going to share with us of how you powered through and took your power back and are creating a sustainable life now. So welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, you're so welcome. I know that you have a lot to pour into our listeners. So if you want to share a little bit about yourself, and then we can talk about your story that you want to share in your journey.
Yes. So yes, I am from Ellisburg, Pennsylvania. I live with my husband and two dogs. I have a daughter, 22, working on her master's in accounting. I work currently full-time at a lumber yard at the sales counter. And that's where I am right now, also in the process of getting my own sober coaching business going up and running, because that's what I feel God has called me to do. That is my purpose in life, is to go in and help others that were in the grips of addiction as I was. And that's very, very important and powerful to me, that I give back and that I can be a support to people in that journey. As it was.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's so courageous of you to share. Now, when did all of this start? Was it always this way, or was it after you got married, or were you a teenager? What happened?
And yes, no, this started later in life. I had no problems in my teenage, grew up, with two parents in the household, a brother, very normal. I always grappled with like anxiety, like crippling anxiety though, and feeling like I never belonged from an early age. But, I never did any drinking or drugs early. I married when I was 24 and moved up to Pennsylvania. I'm originally from New Jersey. So I moved up here. Obviously getting up here, I didn't really know anybody. So life went on. I got a job at the local hospital here, in the appointment center. And in 2001, we had a daughter. And it wasn't until like 2005, 2006 that alcohol started to come into my life on like a regular basis. It started out as like a social kind of thing. Up until then, if I had one drink a year, it was like a lot, that would be like if I was out at an event. It was never in the house. So we moved, we built a house and started getting to know people, and we were going to these wine fests. They were really popular. So we're going to those. I really didn't even like it at first, the taste. It just didn't even do it for me. I just basically stuck with like the sweet stuff. Then as life went on and got a little rocky between my job and my marriage, I started finding myself drinking more, because what I did like about it was the effect. It was like, wow, I finally found something, that calmed at the beginning, calmed my anxiety, and gave me like the strength to face some things, in my life. And so so that's how that started. Once I started drinking because of that, the effect, things kind of progressed from there over the years. I found myself, some of the signs and things that I was doing was I would have a few drinks before I'd go out. So this way, when I'd go out and have a few, my husband or whoever would just think, oh, she's a lightweight, not knowing I had already had a few just to get out the door. Um, I would do things like that. I would hide the bottles that I had in around the house so that nobody would find them. I would pour them into water bottles and I would gather the bottles when no one was home, take them to like the gas station or grocery store, get rid of them. Um, I started like not behaving like I usually did. I was going to work late. I was having mood swings. And so people like my husband and was starting to catch on, to what was going on. When he started finding the bottles and realizing that this was a problem. Um, and
So
so
at this time, your daughter, she was 4 or 5 years old. So was
Well, she was right. She was 4 or 5, and that's like when it started. I mean, but this took quite a few years to get out of control. Um,
okay.
so she was actually, well, 14, 13, 14 by the time I was like full blown drinking around the clock, not able to like keep up with my regular, duties and stuff where it started to really affect, and there was no hiding it anymore, falling asleep in the bathroom. Like I said, I'm not going to work. I'm starting to have other issues in my life. So that was the breaking point. It came to 2016 is when my family decided between my parents and my husband, I had been at a therapy session and I had mentioned about not wanting to live anymore. And so they had to call somebody and somebody came to the house to like talk to me to make sure. And it was that night that they called my husband, between my husband and my mother, they called this rehab number and got me into a place in Florida. Um, I went. I didn't want to go, of course, but I was pretty much pressured into that or else, everybody was sick of it. I had tried meetings, therapy, I just kept going back. And it was just getting too toxic in the family. So I went. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to go. So I leave there and I'm drinking on the plane home. So they come and pick me up. I don't know if at that point they realized I had had some drinks at the airport or not, but I was pretty much only a few days later, I was off to the races. Now I'm at a leave of absence for my job. At that point, I was working in revenue cycle at the hospital as a senior business analyst. I just couldn't go back. The job, the environment was toxic for me. So that was one thing. So that was like in June of 2016. Well, it only took like 2 more months and like I was back to drinking to blackouts. Um, my husband's like doesn't know what to do. He's done. So so we were in the midst of working on a divorce at that time. I moved out. I had met somebody in the meantime. So I'm with him. And again, my drinking is like I'm fooling him now, right? He doesn't, realize. So I'm fooling him. I'm drinking again. He wasn't noticing right away. I was pretty good at hiding it and doing what I had to get done. But it just continued. And then I went to 4 more rehabs, the hospitals. At one point, my daughter, pretty much sent me a text. She had been staying with me a week and then her dad a week, and she just she couldn't do it. She was a teenager. She was scared. It was toxic. I was like out of control. And I was drinking and driving. I had her in the car at one point, and she knew because she was old enough, and I had to pull over. And my father-in-law came and got her. So so I went this way. So she just sent me a message, text message, being very mature, I thought, even though at the time it shattered me, that she just had to step away. It was too toxic. And that I was the best mom for 13 years, she loves me. But so of course that shattered me. Like I said, from 2016 to 2019, I did go to 4 more rehabs. In that time, I was hospitalized for pancreatitis. I
Mm,
had my gallbladder out. My
wow.
body did not do well with the alcohol. Like there's people who have drank for like 30 years and haven't had like the health issues I did with just that window of time. But I drank pretty, hard. And there was a point in time, which this is not something I'm proud of, but I feel like people need to know this, only because when I hear it now from people, I'm like, wow, like I wasn't the only one. So when I was being watched very carefully for a while here with my husband, and I resorted to other forms of alcohol because I could not get out to get it because I was, so I was drinking the Listerine, I was drinking the vanilla extract, the rubbing alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm alive, just because my body at that point just needed it. I didn't even want it. It just needed it to survive. And so yes, I did do those things. When I went into what led up to my last rehab, was I was heading down to Jersey in February of 2019 to visit my family. And I had seen that my daughter was going to college is with somebody else in the family. And I knew that should have been me, and I was like, I was angry, I was hurt, so unfortunately, I stopped at a liquor store on the way down and got some airplane bottles and some vodka, not intending to drink all that till I got there. But apparently I did. And I got into a blackout and I was on the parkway in New Jersey. And somebody called. They thought I was having a medical emergency. And the cops, state troopers came. Last thing I remember is them behind me. I don't
Mm,
remember anything else, but I took them on a 34-minute chase on the parkway, on and
wow.
off exits. This is the grace of God, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
totally the grace of God.
Mm,
um finally got me, took me to the station. My dad came and got me. A few days later, I had to go back and give statements, and they decided to put me in jail. I was in jail for like 24 hours. That was eye-opening, while I was detoxing in the jail. And the next day, my now husband came to get me, and you would have thought that was enough, but I continued on for 2 more months, well, a couple more months, 3 more months, sort of,
mm,
drinking, because now I'm like paranoid. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my life is over. Like I'm going to jail. Like I got a lawyer. um, and so what happened was I was at the end of April, I was starting to drink heavily again, and I was taking my anxiety meds, and my husband found me like pretty much comatose. So he took me to the hospital, and then and at that point they thought I was trying to commit suicide. I mean, I wasn't. I just didn't remember that I took them. So but
mm,
at that point, I would pray to God at night, like just if this is how my life's going to be, if I'm not going to get out of this, please just like take me. Like I never planned a suicide, but like I just didn't want to live like that anymore. And I just didn't know how and where. Nothing was working for me. AA wasn't working for me. So at that last time in that hospital bed, I just gave it up to God again.
mm,
I mean, I grew up in a Christian household. I went to church all through my adulthood, but during my addiction, I kind of, obviously went off the path, and kind of was ashamed. So I wasn't really talking to God, kind of hoping like he wasn't seeing me. Well, yeah, he could see me. He knew what I was doing. So I just gave it up to him. I said, I don't know what else to do. I'm done. I'm ready. I need you, please. And a peer specialist came in as well to talk to me. And I had never been talked to that empathetically and compassionately in the hospital. That's
Mm.
another thing I speak on is stigma because that was really bad, how I was treated a couple of my hospital stays. But needless to say, I went on to my last rehab. It was not the greatest one, but it was there that I advocated that I need to learn. I need something to do. I can't just sit around here and color and sit outside. And like, this is my life now. Like, I want my daughter back. I want my life back. And so I did the work. I made sure I had a really stable aftercare plan. I already had therapy set up, an outpatient set up, like ready to go. And thankfully, through God and prayer, he put the right people in my path during that next step of the journey. I had an excellent therapist and I had an excellent group leader in the 48 sessions that I did, and I learned a lot from them. Plus prayer and just keeping God with me in my life. And I was able that time to stick to it. I just celebrated in May 5 years sober from the
Oh,
alcohol.
congratulations.
Yes,
Congratulations.
very. I mean, it was a long journey, very long in and out.
So the husband you're with now, that's not your daughter's dad, right?
Mhm.
This is a new.
Yes.
Okay, good. So
Yep.
how is your relationship with your daughter? Were you able to rebuild that?
Yes, we were. And she is like my biggest supporter now and so proud of me. And it's amazing. I went back to school too and I got my associate's degree. And she went up to my graduation. She's like, "You're gonna walk. I'm proud of you." And so I got my associate's degree. Then I went on to Liberty University. And in December, I got my bachelor's for addiction and recovery counseling because I promised God that
Yeah.
day, that bed, I will dedicate my life to helping other people if you just let me live like this one last time. And and I'm keeping that promise. And there's no other reason why I'm alive today is because God had a greater purpose for me. And that was to go back out, work through him, him work through me to bring others out of addiction and walk with them on that journey because it can be a lonely, scary journey, especially, when you're going to people for help that you think should help you and they're like stigmatizing you to the point that one of my times I tried to detox on my own because I didn't want to go back there. And that time I was again in a coma-like state. I was seeing people, I was hearing things. They didn't know if I was going to come out of that, because I tried. You can die. I didn't know that at the time. You can literally die from alcohol withdrawal, but I was that afraid to go back because of the stigma, especially a mom and a woman, it seemed like, in my, 30s and like early 40s, it just seemed like it was just bad. I had a lot of bad experiences and I just want to be there and be that other person, the peer, the person that's gonna, I don't care, I'm here for you.
It sounds like there was a lot of things maybe going on that just drove you toward the alcohol, maybe your job. I don't
Yes.
know if you had some physical things going on as well, but I mean, what do you say to those people that are in like those situations? Obviously, they're over stressful situations. How can you help them? So instead of turning to an addiction, something, whether it's alcohol or drug abuse or
Mhm.
whatever, what can you share with them that would maybe help them just get a little bit different perspective?
Right, right. Well, I would say you're definitely not alone. Prayer works, believe it or not, and I mean really pray. Um, that works. Also, trying to find like groups that you can go to. I found that really helpful as well. Maybe not so much AA because that didn't work for me, but AA has saved millions of people. So I'm all for it. But just there's so much online now. I even have an online Facebook group now just to talk, and
Yeah.
be heard and have somebody say to you, like, I get it.
I,
I was there. It's okay. We're going to do this. We're going to find different ways for you to manage the stress or the anxiety, that you're going through, without the alcohol. We just got to fill that time, with whatever. I mean, for me, it's devotionals. It's anything to do with like endorphins, like exercise, whether it's a walk, outside play frisbee with my dog, anything like that. There's also, just taking a deep breath, counting to 10. Sometimes they may sound like simple things, just change your scenery. Like I said, get up and take a walk, get out of the
yeah.
house. You know, every second, every minute is worth celebrating that you can go without, you know, without drinking. And it's possible. Because I mean, I was pretty bad. Um,
Mm.
again, I was looking at 1 to 5 years in state prison. I'm drinking Listerine. So, it's not, it may seem like the way at the moment because it's making you feel good. But eventually it
Mhm.
doesn't anymore. And now you're going to start having repercussions like family members lost, DUIs, and it gives you more anxiety. It's like a full-time job because you're like, where can I get it next? I'm going to go to this liquor store. No, that I got to sneak it in the house. Oh my gosh, like it's just like it's a full-time job. It becomes a full-time job on top of what you're already doing, and I'm proof 5 years later that these simple things work, because life hasn't been, a bowl of cherries since I got sober either. I've had to go through some pretty rough times. Again, my daughter wasn't even speaking to me when I came out sober for the first 6 months. That enough, would have turned me back to that. But I had to focus on me and I had to get help, with a therapist and group, and I had to work through all that emotion and all those the way I was thinking and relearn, how to do all that so I could be there for her. I couldn't just sit there every day crying and wallowing in that. I had to just put it to the side, do the work because everybody was sick of hearing I'm sorry. They were sick of
Mhm.
it. And I don't blame
Yeah.
them because I kept doing it. I had to show them. I had to do the work and eventually earn the trust back, but it does happen, so I had that trial. My case came up a year and a half later after I was sober. Again, I'm still looking at 1 to 5. At that point, I had peace about it because I felt
Mhm.
like, my God, yeah, I could have killed a lot of people. But because I did the work when I had my last hearing, and the judge said, yes, you did have a good lawyer. He said, but you did the work. And none of this was court mandated because I didn't even have you know, a session until I was already a year sober. I did that all on my own,
Right.
just because I was sick of it. So like he's like, I don't really see this a lot, in my line of work. And he goes, I got 1 year probation. And he said, I don't want to see you back here again. And I never was in trouble with the law ever. But
Grace,
yeah,
grace,
grace.
right there. Grace
It is.
paper.
It is. I mean, the
Yes.
foundation pretty much of my recovery is God. And I will say that now. I understand maybe that's not everybody's, cup of tea, just like AA or this way or that way of recovery. And that's okay. We can still recover. I can still help people, through, and it's like the people I'm going to help, they could be people that are just thinking about it. Maybe they
Mhm.
just don't like their relationship with alcohol. Maybe they're not full on fully addicted. Maybe they are. Some people will have to go to rehab or a detox first. Some people could be like me 5 years in and maybe you've hit something in your life, a divorce, a death, and you just need somebody, to help you just get through that hurdle, without jeopardizing your sobriety. And
Mhm.
and that's where I want to come in any of those paths that you're on your journey, if they're local, I'll advocate for them. I'll go to the hospital with them, hold their hand, make sure they're not treated like, you know, like, I don't know, like we don't even belong in the hospital or we don't even
Right.
deserve it. We're just, oh, they can't put the bottle down. They don't understand. A lot of people, not even your
Mhm.
family members. I didn't.
Right.
I mean, there was addiction in my family. I mean, my uncle, my mom's brother died at 50. Her dad was alcoholic,
Right.
so,
Wow.
but even then, and like, I didn't understand, like, well, why couldn't they just put the bottle down? I wasn't mad or judge them. I mean, like that, but like, I just couldn't understand like that either until, hey, one day it was me and I couldn't put it
Now, when
down.
you were in the hospital, you said that someone was compassionate towards you. Was that, I mean, do you feel like that person was the one for you that helped you, put the stake in the ground and say, this is enough, this is it,
Yes,
I've got to make a change. Yeah,
it
I
was.
love that because, Matt talks about that in his book of One More, the power of one more, because his dad was an alcoholic. And he said, I love his story. It just makes me bring tears, but you're going to be that one for somebody else. Like there was somebody that was that one for his dad, for my dad. So
Yes.
you're going to be that one for hundreds of people to help them, when they're right at the brink and they don't know what to do. And the alcohol is just not working for them.
Yeah.
It's all, you're going to be that one. So that is so powerful.
Yes. Yes, I am. I hope to be, and I will.
Yeah.
And, I've already been that one for some people, like not necessarily, like I've worked with some people like on the side before I even had, getting my business up and going. And yeah, that's really all that I want,
Mhm.
it's in life is to be that person because now I know what that is like. And, if she wouldn't have come in, who knows, you know? And she had been in the week before and I didn't want anything to do with her. And then I was back 1 week later and she came back and that like shocked me. I'm like, wow. I'm like, you didn't give up on me. I'm like, I
Yeah.
pretty much told you to leave last week and now you're back, and I
Yeah.
always like it brings her to tears, but like when I talk, because I've done a few talks for her, for like doctors at the hospital, and I always, say, I get tears in my eyes that she was my, like you said, she was my one more. She was my
Yeah.
person. She gets embarrassed, but I mean, I I have to because she's such a pivotal person in that journey, and she needs to know that. And I want to be that one for somebody too, for lots of
Yeah.
people.
Just like Jesus, he was the one for all of us.
Mm.
He died for all of us so that we could have this life and to make the most of it. We all do have a purpose and a mission and an assignment. And Jen, it sounds like you have found yours, and I am so excited for you to start your coaching business. Do you have a group audience that you want to speak to? Is it women? Is it women and men? Is it children, teens? Is it mixed? Tell us about your program and who that you serve.
So, I primarily serve women, especially women in my age group, like 30s on that came to drinking maybe later in life as well. Um, and like me, like we had the career, we had the family, we were hiding it, and these are people that will be hiding, because they don't like me, they don't want let people down. I'm a people pleaser, and so we were being all for everybody at that time in our life, and it was just too much. So I primarily, connect with women again, my age. Doesn't have to be though. Just because I know, what we're going through during those ages. I'm not too much with I wouldn't do too much with children at this point. Um, Men, I'm not turning anybody away, first of all, at all. If I'm talking today or on another talk and somebody feels like they're connecting with me, then please feel free. If whether it's a man, a woman, connect with me. Maybe I am your person. Maybe you work better with a female. So and women of faith, and again, that's not a rule breaker either. I have faith-based, programs or ways to go through it, faith-based. If that's not their thing, that's okay too. I'm still going to pray for you and I'm still going
Yeah.
to tell my story, and that's who my rock and cornerstone is. But I have secular ways of, you know, getting through it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really,
Great.
that's
So
it.
you said you have a Facebook group that
Yes,
people can join. Is it
yes,
public?
please.
Is it a public group or?
It's private right now,
Okay.
but I may just I don't know. It's private just because of the sensitivity, I guess. I felt like people would be, because I have my own Facebook page too.
Yeah.
But it's Gen Ally Sober Coach is the Facebook group. And yes, I'm trying to get some more followers and people there so that we can support each other in there, as a platform.
So
And
for your coaching clients mainly.
what
For your coaching clients, the Facebook group is for your coaching clients.
that too, but really anybody. I mean, that
Oh,
is struggling. It's for, with alcohol. That I would like
okay.
to have that as like a separate thing. I mean, my clients can get in there too and interact, but I would like that to be kind of like my like, and there's no cost involved in that. And if I had enough people and interest, I would like to even run meetings, once or
Mhm.
twice a week in that group, free,
Yeah.
just helping people.
Mhm.
So like I'm trying to get, yes, I mean, please reach out. That is my face group. And I'm on both. I'm on my own Facebook and that one. I have my personal,
Okay.
just they can find me. Um, I also
Do you?
have, go ahead.
Yeah. Go. I was
I
just
have
going
a
to you have a website.
website. Yep, I have a website. It's www.genallysobercoach.com. And what I'm doing for my program, I'm doing like I've been there. So see, with my name, ally, I'm your ally. And together we'll go through navigate your sobriety. And so kind of did like a play on words for kind of just like an outline for how I'm gonna walk people through this. Starting with acceptance, has to be absolutely, you know and then working on measurable goals in that acceptance period, identifying triggers, again, working on replacement activities during when you would typically drink, and then liberating, that's the L. So liberating you from the bondage, of addiction. And, just, it's just like figuring out, what we need to get in place so that you feel liberated
Mhm.
from the alcohol that used to keep you. So I empower them. Transformation, living from that life of, dependency to a life of more self-sufficiency. Again, spiritual liberation. We can go to the Bible. I have passages, and then attainable, because it is attainable. Long-term sobriety is attainable, and I will work with you on that framework and planning your future with you.
Mhm.
Um, we could do success journals. I have a lot of different things, emergency plans you want to put in place as well. Fitness plans. I'm big on that. Anything, you got to rediscover the things that you loved to do before. And then invaluable, for the eye that I get that what they're going through, the depths and the struggles, but you're going to receive like invaluable peer support and coaching from me, someone who knows, I know what works, I know what doesn't, I did it enough, and just kind of knocking those roadblocks down and standing with you through everything, holding your hand through all the setbacks, and we'll have fun during it as
So,
well, of course. And then I just think,
and it really matters when you're helping them because you have been through the experience. So you can relate to them one on one, on that level playing ground. There's nothing that they can say that it sounds like you haven't tried or done. I mean,
right.
maybe there's some things, but it sounds like, through years and coming out of it. But I'm so happy for you that 5 years. That is definitely celebratory, and I congratulate you. And what you're doing is monumental. People need it. The numbers are up. People are hopeless. They're feeling like there's no hope. They don't have any hope. So they turn to these other alternative things. And they need to turn to Jesus. He's our savior. He's our love of our life. He's our protector. He's ready and waiting and unconditional love. Families may have conditional love, but Jesus has unconditional love. It doesn't matter what you do. He loves you each and every moment. And he has a plan for you, just like he planned. Look at you. I mean, 5 years ago, you were worrying about the sentence. You know, you were all kinds of stuff. And now today, you have got your bachelor's degree. I mean, that's amazing. Congratulate you.
Thank you.
Sit down and celebrate yourself, celebrate your accomplishments, because that is really a celebratory. You need to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
You are so welcome. So, okay. Have you got a book that you're working on, or do you have any like weekly meetings that you want to share?
Not at the time. No, like I said, I want to set some, weekly meetings up. I just need to gain a little more, interest and support in the Facebook group. And, people, I'm trying to get visible, so I can get visible to as many people as I can. Like you said, the numbers are up, people are suffering. And I would like to, once I get my business up and running a little more, I will probably do a book. Definitely. I will write a book. And, but yeah, Jesus is the answer.
Yes, he is. Well, I appreciate you being so vulnerable and courageous coming on the show and talking about it. I know it's not easy to go back to that and relive it. And I know that you probably could have went deep in some of that. So that is what you're going to put in the book. Go deep those things.
Yes.
Thank you. And tell us your contact information. How do you want people to reach out to you?
They can reach out to me through my website, which I gave you, right? Jen Ally Sober Coach. And they can reach out to me on Facebook, Jen Ally Sober Coach, request, to join the group, or just reach out to me on my personal profile. You can private message me. Absolutely. Anytime, any day. And we'll set something up and we'll get you feeling better.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you're here to share your experience with others. And listeners, you're not alone. They're not alone. So Jen is here. If you need to reach out to her, I will have her links to her website and Facebook group in the notes. And just please reach out to her if you need someone to talk to. If you just want to join a group of like-minded people, you're going to be elevated. All boats rise together. So thank you, Jen, again for being so and joining us today. And thank you, listeners, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you for joining us today on the 360 Network for Women and Real Heart Talk podcast. We're so happy you could join and hope you stay tuned for the next episode.